Thank you for reminding, Shivani. Thank you very much. मैं
Yes.
भूल गया था.
So I just saw that it is not live.
Right. I forgot.
My screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, eligible. मेरा हिसाब से कम्युनिकेशन समथिंग बाय विच यू रीच टू अदर. तो उन्होंने मत लिखा लो सेंटेंस बाय एक्सप्रेसिंग योरसेल्फ, उसमें सब आ गया. आई थिंक इट्स ऑल अबाउट एक्सप्रेशन. Am I right, Shivani?
So whatever is there, everything is communication.
Absolutely.
So whether we are speaking or not, whether we are saying anything, or whether we are just making some gestures, or even the silence is a communication. So I have prepared this presentation to take you to the journey of communication. So let's start it.
Yes.
Communication is actually the exchanging of information, ideas, and emotions between individuals or groups, or through various means of speech, writing, gesture, or even visual cues. So what happens is we get some thoughts, and those thoughts turn into emotions, and emotion turns into feelings, which create our habits, and that results into desires, which lead us to further taking actions and results. So as per neurology, there are 80 billion neurons, and our decision making and emotion as well as motivation all depends on the changes of these neurons and cells. So why we need communication? Can you say some reasons why we actually need communication? So however, some of the reasons are visible on the screen. So effective communication is essential for like success in different factors of our lives, and including to understand each other, to understand what is the thinking process of the other person, and how we can make an impact and influence and make things done the way we want. So that's the basic way of the purpose of communication. And then effective communication is able to adopt the styles and approach to an audience. So we'll look at some examples where we will see how communication matters. And today we will be busting some myths about communication that people hold. So there are several types of communication: written, verbal, non-verbal, mass communication, visual communication, and group communication, as well as feedback. Then while doing anything, we must always seek what's the ultimate outcome that we are seeking for. So for communication, these are some of the reasons that getting things done, then the influence, transformation, conveying what we want to say in a particular manner, and then listening to how people think, understanding the thinking process of others, and using it to our advantage. You cannot think of something without thinking about it. What do you mean by this sentence? Can I get answers in the chat box?
You cannot think of something without thinking out. What do you mean? What she mean? She's asking. Please write in the chat.
Can I get some answers?
This means, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that let me speak rather than writing down, so I can express, because we are on
Okay.
communication. So it means that whenever you are whenever you are thinking about something, you have to first initiate that thought process in your brain, in your mind. अगर आपको किसी को कुछ बोलना है, आपको एक्सप्रेस करना है, कुछ भी समझाना है, suppose you went to a garden and you can feel the smell of the flowers, so you bring it brings a happiness on your face. That is also communication. मतलब whatever you want to think.
Right. That is one perspective. Actually, the sentence says you cannot not think of something without thinking about it. Like I
So you're
say
always thinking
anything
in the
like
subconscious mind. That is what it is.
actually, no. Actually, our brain picks up the mental images. Our brain pictures. It does not understand words.
Right.
So let me give you an example. If I say, do not think about a pink elephant, does a pink elephant pops up in your brain,
Right. Right. Right.
right? So that's how we generate pictures. So what pictures we are generating into our mind, that is going to change what we think and how things manifest in our life. Then listening to how people think is the basic purpose of
शिवानी मैडम,
communication.
एक मिनट, मतलब यू वांट टू से
Yes,
कि
sir.
कुछ चीज के लिए नहीं सोचना है, हमको ये कुछ नहीं सोचना है, उसके लिए पहले वो सोचना पड़ेगा, फिर हमको उसको नहीं सोचना है। एम आई राइट? मतलब पिंक एलिफेंट होता है तो भी हम पिंक
वो
एलिफेंट
चीज
सोच रहे हैं।
सोचनी है जो हमें नहीं चाहिए, जो अनवांटेड थिंग्स नहीं सोचनी है।
हाँ, वही मतलब जो समझो आपने बोला पिंक एलिफेंट, वो होता भी नहीं है, फिर भी हम उसके बाद सोचते हैं नहीं सोचने के लिए।
तो होता है पिंक एलिफेंट, so it's found at some places.
अच्छा, ना वो नहीं मालूम। अच्छा, एनीवे, पर मैं क्या बोलता हूँ आपको, व्हेन यू से डोंट थिंक, मतलब पहले वो सोचना पड़ेगा टू नॉट थिंक अबाउट इट।
So we
टू
are always
कैंसल।
saying like somebody is holding like a child is holding a glass of water, a glass one. So we say we don't say like we say it will fall down. So we do not, and when we say it definitely fall down most of the times. So that's we want that it the child carries it carefully, and that's how we must express ourselves in the
यस,
positive.
नॉट टू से
Then
दैट वर्ड।
communication, yes sir, you were
मतलब वो वर्ड
saying.
नहीं बोलना है, आपने जो बोला वो वर्ड नहीं बोलना है, आपको ऐसा बोलना है कि आप संभाल के लेके जाओ, बराबर ना?
Right.
ओके ओके।
Then the communication is an art as well as a science. An art says ability to express oneself clearly. What I want to say, whether the other person is getting in the same context, persuasively and creatively, and what creativity as well as humor we can infuse in our conversation. That adds to the art side. Using the appropriate tone, style, language for the intended audience, and our key elements should be clarity, brevity, empathy, active listening, and non-verbal communication. These elements help to ensure that that the message is conveyed effectively. The other person is getting the message in the right context that we wanted to convey. And the science says that science of communication involves the understanding of underlying principles and theories such as perception, feedback, and cultural context. There are several other theoretical frameworks that have been defined at the science end. Let's move on. The best learning happens when you get down to the root of a thing and try to understand it. So let's burst some myths about communication. The first myth says, I cannot communicate. Many people say, I cannot communicate. So let me tell you, you cannot not communicate, because even if you are not saying a single word, you are still communicating. Our communication has three levels. That is the body, the first and the most important. Most people think that the words we use in our communication I cannot express in words, but still you are expressing what you want to convey. Our body language is the major contributing factor, which holds as a 55% in communication. And voice tonality is the second thing, that is 38%, and speech of words only consists of 7%. Can you, how many of you knew this already? Did you knew? If you knew, you can type yes, or otherwise.
No, no, no.
Okay.
It's a good realization.
So for effectively communicating, there is this acronym called SOLAR. That is S stands for square. That is, face squarely by doing this, and shows you are involved in the conversation. Then open. Always have an open posture. People feel engaged and as well as welcomed. Then L is leaning. You're leaning forward and talking to the person. That gives a sense of involved and that you are attentively listening. Then make an eye contact with the person you are talking. That is the utmost thing that brings a sense of listening and like involvement. And then relax, which stay in a relaxed and calm state, which shows that you are focused towards the conversation. Now, myth number 2 is what the express is received in the same manner. Most of the time, we think that whatever we are saying, the other
Shivani
person
ma'am, 1 minute. Alokji पूछ रहे हैं, what do you mean by squarely facing?
Pardon?
उन्होंने पूछा आपको, what do you mean by squarely facing?
Okay, just a minute. Squarely is like showing interest in the conversation, showing
Yes.
that you are involved, and like nodding your head while communicating, as well as showing the body language that reflects that you are listening attentively. So
Okay.
that means face squarely. Now, when I am conveying something, whether most of the time is we understand that the other person is getting it in the same manner. So always ask questions as Alokji asked. So ask, do not assume anything. So that will give you more, give us more clarity. There is always a communication gap in the perspective that we are wanting to make other person understand and how he is taking the things. Then there are always 3 perspectives to any situation, to anything. That is the mind perspective, the way I think about particular thing, yours perspective or the other person's perspective, how the other person is taking, and the neutral one. Suppose if the other person who is not involved into the conversation or an argument or anything, so that how that person thinks about the situation, that is the neutral one. So always think outside of all these 3 perspectives. That is how the neutral person will think. We must always think whenever there is a conflict, we must always think what are the 3 perspectives and what is the motive behind a particular talk or conversation or a conflict. And then we will be able to have better decisions, like and be empathetic. Always put yourself in the shoes of others. So like in this image, one person is saying 6 and the other is saying 9. Both are correct. So it's not always that the other person is, we need to think what he is saying, that is being empathetic, putting ourselves into his position. Now, like a doctor writes and how many of us understand, right? So he thinks the people are getting it, but we don't get his writing. Then
I'm only a pharmaceutical medicine shopkeeper. He can understand what the doctor is writing.
right. And this is another example, like look alike, sound alike. So it's called LASA. So in a medical word, most of the medicines seem similar, but actually there is a bit difference or like that. So knowing what we exactly want and understanding is a bit takes a bit more effort. Then myth number 3 is we cannot bring humor in professional communication. So let me give you an example in the COVID scenario. So there is a job interview going, and the interviewer asked, "Can you tell me a bit about your background?" So there's a humor infused. Sure, it's Mount Kilimanjaro. So a bit of humor can be used. Humor can be a big business opportunity. And we have seen Amul as one of the best humor creating advertisements. That's better safe than sorry during the COVID times. Then sense of humor can be cultivated by understanding different cultures, what are our upbringings, realizing the importance of humor, reading, writing, listening, speaking, as well as being creative. So we can have another one, that Indian parents don't say good morning, they switch off the fan. So that's another kind of humor. Then myth number 4 is communication means speaking only. No, it does not. Nature smiles through flowers. Here is a great example where while UEFA World Cup Euro 2020, Ronaldo actually was feeling thirsty, and he was picking. He was about to pick a Coca-Cola bottle, and then while touching the bottle, he stopped, and then he picked up the water bottle. And just this gesture of him, without speaking a single word, decreased the sale of Coca-Cola to millions of dollars. So that's how we communicate, and that's the impact of communication without words. Even if we are not communicating, we are actually communicating. And that's what that sentence said. You cannot not communicate. Now, myth number 5, more words means effective communication. It's not that way. Some people have this ability to communicate just what they want to say with just few words or just gestures. Didn't we know about Mr. Bean? So he never used a single word, and the word knows how effectively he communicated. So take a pause, breathe, reset, embrace silence, speak only if it improves upon the silence, when it is empowering. 6, saying no is rude. Most of us say understand that saying no is rude. So it's not. Whenever think about what's important for me, and if it is not, we can always say no. It's always better than a fake yes. Do not build a prison for yourself with the opinion of others towards your life. Listen to yourself. Myths, just a minute. This window is here. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Oh, actually, Zoom window was there in front of this. So people understand your acronyms. Most people think that people understand your acronyms and linguistic gymnastics. So it's not true. As we can see, Shashi Tharoor using those linguistic gymnastics, and most people do not understand what words he is speaking. The communication is one department in an organization is another myth. So communication, like customer service, is everyone's responsibility. It's a joint effort, and it can never be a single person's work. Even if one person is responding in a certain way, and the other and the rest of the people are responding in a different way, the image that an organization gets is a different one. So it's a common responsibility to effectively communicate. Communication just happens. We can go extempore. Most people think it's a natural process. We do not have to think about it or be conscious about it. But the reality is it's not. Most leaders, speakers, as well as people at top positions, they already know something. The way of communicating that brings deeper impact, that brings them business, as well as the relationships they want to build with other big leaders. So let's see. Do you find any similarity in these pictures?
Behavior.
Yes. So there is a advanced language of communication, a field of study of communication, which is known as NLP, that is Neuro Linguistic Programming. And it talks about effective communication, how we can influence, and everything that is happening, everything that we are saying or acting or conveying with our body gestures and tonality and other verbal as well as non-verbal communication, everything is NLP. Everything that works is NLP. So we can communicate with gadgets only. Some people think like that. So it's not the case. People, we need people, the human effect. Presume as if there is no Wi-Fi and we are into 1995 and give that human touch to your conversation. Now, there is a beautiful story by Gaur Gopal Das ji, and it is from many places I heard this story. Whenever somebody has come towards you to talk about some other person, there is a four-way test that we must always exercise before listening to or involving into any kind of gossips or any kind of talks that are not empowering. So the first question that we must ask is it the truth? The what the other person is going to tell us? We must always ask, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? If any of the answers is no, he said, I would not like to listen what you want to convey. So this brings us like we only listen to the empowering talks. So it's of no use listening to something that is a rumor or that is just his he has listened speaking somebody about something and is going to tell us. It's of no use. So now let's understand what is NLP. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, where neuro means neurology or nervous system, linguistic means the language, and programming means the mental patterns that we create in our mind, how we implement things. Now, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP is the user manual for brain. It helps us how people think, learn, motivate, and change. It is a science of achieving success, peak performance. So there are certain techniques that will help us understand better the way we must communicate, how we can improve on our influence. And NLP is also a science of wellness without medicines, how we can cure things just by the way of positive mental thoughts and certain techniques, because most of the diseases or illness we carry are our mental frames only. It is a science to transform zero to hero as well as ordinary to extraordinary. So how we conceive things, there are our five senses that are called sensory acuity, or we call it vibes in NLP terms. That is, we always get information input via voice, inclination, breathing, eyes, as well as our skin. These are the our receiving modems, we can say, in our body. And the way they work is like voice. We can always understand how the other person is speaking, like the speed, volume, pitch, tone, timbre, modulation, word type. So these are the further categorization of how we conceive things, how we perceive how the other person is communicating. And similarly, inclination is whether the person is leaning backward, or what gestures and what symmetry is framed by the other person. Then the rate of breathing, everything tells us something. Then even the eye movement, whether the person is looking in front and talking, is having an eye contact, or whether he is looking here and there. Then the watering or redness in the eyes, directions of the eyes, everything tells us something. We get to know whether the person is speaking truth or whether he is hiding something. Similarly, when a person is speaking some untruth, then the color of his skin or the glow can be judged with these things. So whenever a person is glowing, we understand that he is in joy. Otherwise, the body textures as well as these vibes tells us how the other person is feeling at the moment. Then how we conceive things, how our mind takes anything is like a trigger is there, some outward situation encounters, and our brain takes it as a danger. Then what happens is there is a substance called amygdala, which is activated, which is an alert alarm, which signals to the hypothalamus and that there is some danger. Then the hypothalamus gets activated, and there are only three modes, that is fight, flight, or freeze. When these signals are gone into the hypothalamus, there are released uh, two different chemicals known as adrenaline as well as cortisol. Adrenaline increases our heartbeats, breathing, BP, etc., while the cortisol is a stress hormone that increases central obesity. So, how we respond, whether it is fight, flight, or freeze, that depends further into, and our liver always reserves sugar when the adrenaline is released. So Einstein said one thing, that everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. So whatever we are saying or whatever we are doing, everything, even the non-living things, everything in this world is energy. It is not only said by Einstein, but has been proved proved by different places, at different places with different people. And when we go deep into their thinking, their saying, we get to know that everything is energy and the universe works on the law of attraction, where whatever we are thinking or whatever we are our dominant thoughts, they get manifested in our lives. So there are some these 6 pips of psychology of human motivation that are called pre-installed psychological needs, where a human always craves for these are inbuilt, and we are always like into the or we into these 6 pips, and that are the need for certainty, uncertainty, how to tackle it, and significance. Everyone wants significance in their life. Then human connection, then contribution. How can one contribute and grow? Then the growth comes. So while these 6 levels of living, it is most people are stuck in the basic 2 levels of day-to-day activity and immediate goals. And when a person is freed from these 2 levels, they can think of responsibilities, their responsibilities towards society, their short-term goals. And when somebody moves above from these 2 levels, then only one can think of the long-term goals and life purpose. So here is the consciousness that lights that the why we need to increase our energy levels. That is explained in this chart, where our subconscious mind, we are always having certain frequency. The way we feel, that defines how and at what level our frequency is. So this is a wonderful chart that explains that when we are feeling like fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, that position, our energy levels drops down, and it is represented. And whenever we are feeling love, joy, peace, enlightenment, so in that case, our energy level is the highest one. And it has been said that gratitude is the most highest level of consciousness we can have, and why people they daily want to charge their consciousness into a higher level. That's what is defined in this chart. So we are always in 2 types of states: a mental state that is positive or resourceful, or negative or unresourceful. So how and these states defined at resourcefulness means happiness, joy. Either you can be happy at a moment, or you can be in a unresourceful state, that is a sad or stuck, unresolved or unfinished, or bad memories, you can say negative state. So why we need to keep ourselves into a positive state is the reason, because the things we attract things that only match to the frequency of what that particular thing, and most things that we want are radiating at a higher frequency, so that makes a difference. Then our even our immune system is dependent on these things. So we are our own creator of the diseases or anything that is harming our immune system. So we need to think that way, and there are the logical levels of change, where for changing anything we need to change our environment first, then our behavior and capabilities. When these things change, our values and our beliefs will automatically change with the change in these 3, and then our identity changes. And when our identity changes, we can contribute towards our purpose.
शिवानी मैम,
Yes, sir.
आलोक जी ने पूछा है, sometimes it happens that we are in numb state, like no thoughts following. In so, where do you categorize it?
sometimes it happens that we are in a numb state, like no thoughts falling in. So where do you categorize it? That can be like, that is still is, if you are feeling peaceful within, and numb state, can you elaborate what do you mean by numb state? Whether like you are not getting any thoughts? So that is the freeze thing. No? So that is like like in the previous slide, I said that is like the word
unresourceful.
no, not unresourceful. Inside unresourceful, there was a term. This one, unresolved, a stuck state, you can see, or the unresolved issues.
Okay.
So we are not getting thoughts what to do. So we have to come out of it and have more clarity and confidence within ourselves.
तो इसमें तो बिहेवियर में आएगा ना, बिहेवियर में मतलब यू आर लॉस्ट एट दैट टाइम या कैपेबिलिटी में. आपने जो ये चार्ट दिया है, ये जो पिरामिड बनाया है, इन दैट इट विल कम इन बिहेवियर, यू आर इन लॉस्ट स्टेट. आपको समझ में आ रहा है?
यस सर. So we need to have clarity what we need to pursue, what we want actually. And then this chart also explains that when we certain event happens, we conceive it via vibes. We already discussed vibes. So that is voice, inclination, and we discussed it here. Vibes, breathing, eyes, and skin, right? So with vibes, we what we get, we are not taking it as it is. We are always deleting, distorting, or generalizing. That is the DDG. We always delete things, certain things that have been said, then we distort, as well as we most of the times we generalize. If something happens once or twice, we generalize it happens that way always. But the same cannot be the case. Then the other thing that infuses into it is the event 2, that is what has happened in the past, from our memory, from perception, from scripts, or semantic. Memory is 2 types, that is semantic as well as episodic, that a particular incident happened in the past, as well as what is imprinted in our brains. So what memory we carry, we recall it, and that makes our state at particular moment. And in what state we are, as per that we take actions. Just a minute. Yeah. We take action on that, and our actions may be verbal or non-verbal, and that creates results of our life that may be desired results or may be undesired results. When it creates desired results, we are happy, healthy, wealthy, and when our results are undesired, we are ill, broke, or into a depressive state. So the similar chart is this one by my mentors. So this is the external event. We take it from our senses. We always delete, distort, generalize things based on our values, beliefs, attitude, memory, decision, as well as language. So a human brain can, there are the external things happening like 2 million bytes per second. So there are so many things happening. What we are consuming, we always keep those filters of deletion, distortion, and generalization. And then what our brain, human brain, can conceive is 7 or maybe 8 or 9 maximum limits of bits per second that a human mind can intake. So our internal representations are the sight, taste, sound, smell, internal dialogues, as well as feelings. which create our emotional state. So how things happen outside and what values and beliefs we carry, all this makes us believe in something, and how we take things that creates our emotional state, how we are feeling in that particular moment, and plus how is our physiology in that particular moment. That these two things, emotional state plus physiology, depends and results into our behavior in that particular moment. So this is a generative success model. Can anybody tell where the cycle starts? It's a cycle.
Result.
Yeah, good. So it can start at belief level also. It can start at, so it is a rotating cycle. Like our results, what has happened in past, what are the results that create our belief, and our belief gives us the confidence. What is our potential? Our potential leads us to further taking action, and action, our action gives us results. So this is a always rotating cycle. We cannot say that the cycle starts here. So like the cycle starts at, I explained that cycle starts at results, but it can start at belief. How we get belief is the past experiences that we that occurred in our life, or that we experience since our childhood. All those things club together to make this cycle happen. Then
Madam,
there are,
one doubt.
yes.
Madam,
Okay.
regarding the belief, you mentioned it can be either past experiences or um, I'm not sure what was the other thing. But if you see the authorized books in which some action points are mentioned and the result point is also mentioned. So a person is having a belief that if I do this, this is the result. But if it is not happening, so
It
so
is
how can?
further strengthening that person's belief, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want to say this? So,
yeah. Like
so,
a nobleman,
but
a
this,
nobleman.
yeah,
Yeah,
how the cycle is to be, we can break this cycle of belief is we need to change our thoughts. Like we said, we always generalize. If something happened 2 times or 3 times, we generalize, I cannot do that thing. Like something I'm trying to do, but are you sure the next time you will do, it will not happen, or it will be the results will be like in the past? If we take certain different actions, if we change our thinking towards it, definitely it's or because of the thinking, as we discussed, the cycle of thoughts to results. So because of our changed thinking, are we going to take the same actions, or are we going to take different actions the next time we try for something?
we'll be taking the same action.
No. If our thoughts have been changed,
Like if there is some action oriented.
why somebody will be taking same action again and again?
Because it is already done and proved by a nobleman who has
No,
shared
you
his
are saying
experience. A saint, for
you
example, a
follow
saint.
something, you have something experienced, like a failure, or something is not getting done, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
would you next time also, would you do the same thing, or would will you put some changed thoughts? You'll change your thinking, and then you will take some other action to some other way to try upon it.
Yeah, some other way to try upon it to do the
Yes,
after doing the self
that's what
assessment.
I'm explaining. That when our
Okay.
thought process changes, we can actually break our belief systems, that we can always change our beliefs, limiting beliefs that are holding us.
Limiting beliefs. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Got it?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So in that case, we are not sure. We cannot carry our beliefs. Those are the limiting beliefs that hold us to further take action. So when we change our thoughts, definitely will take different sort of actions, different strategy to get to the results.
Shivani madam, it is already 7:52. So
Yes.
आपका कितना बाकी हो जाएगा कि we should keep it for next time?
So I would also like to close it here. We can continue maybe next week.
इसलिए बताओ एक ऐसे जगह क्लोज करो कि मजा आए मेरे को.
Questions coming so far. Because the presentation is a bit longer one, I will take just one or two. So here, okay.
So let us take some questions.
Then only it will be better.
So let us take some questions if somebody has.
Right.
And let them be curious of what is going to come tomorrow. Next time.
Yeah, next week we can take it.
Yeah. So किसी को question है तो आप पूछिए.
Any questions you people have, you can ask. Yes, Nigam ji, want to say something?
Nigam? Hello, Nigam ji?
No, not Alok Nigam. He is Nigam Goyal.
Nigam Goyal.
Anyone wants to ask any question or clarify anything?
Alok ji, very nice session. Thank you, Alok ji. Thank you.
Shivani
ma'am has done a very good presentation, but बहुत बड़ा है इसलिए मैं इनको बोला. आज कहते हैं next time और रखेंगे बाकी.
Yeah, we can discuss anytime in future.
नहीं, next time, next Saturday.
Okay,
let us continue.
Yeah, let's continue.
And if possible, give this part presentation to everybody so they can, revise if they want.
Sure, sir.
And then you can give full afterward.
So, any further questions coming?
किसी को कोई सवाल है? Somebody want to ask something?
Or you want to clarify on anything?
Anything, yes.
Ma'am, one question which I want to ask on behalf
Yes,
of my students. Generally, students ask one thing. How to have a clear mindset? Because there is a lot of clutter in the brain. बहुत सारे थॉट आते हैं, कभी कुछ कम्युनिकेट करना है, बोलना कुछ चाहते हैं, बोल कुछ और देते हैं, कुछ चीजें भूल जाते हैं, है ना? How to have a clear cut mindset where you know what you have to speak and you want to convey the same message जो सामने वाले को पहुंचना चाहिए. कई बार हम कुछ और कहना चाहते हैं, कुछ और तरीके से चले जाते हैं, because we are having some other feelings in mind, वो override कर जाती है. How do you address this?
So, in that case, I can say that most people lack vocabulary, right?
So, but your question is not about communication, sir. Alok ji, ये communication question ये सब अलग question पड़ा.
हाँ, थोड़ा अलग है सर. हाँ, लेकिन वो मैम NLP भी करती है ना, तो वो मैंने दोनों उसके
yes.
ये जब होता है when most people lack vocabulary, what to say. So for that, I would suggest read more things, read more books, read the newspapers. So you'll gradually develop vocabulary, and you will try to explain the things in the right perspective. You will find more words to speak what you want to convey.
I would like to say something. Shivani ji, मेरे को कुछ बोलना है. Alok ji, a person who is confused, उनको क्या होते हैं, बहुत सारे थॉट्स है, बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस आते हैं दिमाग में. So what he should do, he should ask question to himself. There are good questions that he should ask to himself. कि मैं ये करूं क्या होगा, वो करने से क्या होगा, and then he can come to one good opinion. क्या होता है अलोक जी, जैसे मुझे कुछ काम करना है, मैं आपको ही पूछता हूँ, शिवानी मैडम को पूछता हूँ, मगर करता हूँ अपने मन का. क्यों? कि मेरे 10 चीज आ गई दिमाग में. Then I have to ask myself, what is better for me? Because something could be better for you, Alok ji, that cannot be good for other person. हर एक के perception अच्छे अलग होते हैं, हर एक के behavior और ये बहुत अलग होते हैं, habits नहीं behavior.
Right. Right.
तो वो उसको उस समय अपने आप को सवाल पूछना पड़ेगा. सो इट इज समथिंग, मैं बोला ये एनएलपी में वही सिखाते हैं कि आस्क योरसेल्फ, एंड इवन somebody comes to me if he has some problem, I will ask him question. तो किसी को ऐसा कंफ्यूज होगा तो आप क्या करो लोग जी, उसको पूछो, उसने जो जवाब दिया ना, उसने कुछ आपको पूछा, उसी में से वही वर्ड ढूंढ के आप उसको सवाल पूछिए, इसका मतलब क्या, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दैट, व्हाट यू वांट टू डू, एक्सेप्ट व्हाई यू कैन आस्क एनी क्वेश्चन, डोंट आस्क व्हाई, बिकॉज़ व्हाई से क्या होता है, वो बोलता है अरे ऐसा क्यों पूछा, क्यों, क्या मतलब, व्हाट डू यू मीन, तो ही गोज इनटू डिफेंसिव मोड.
Right.
You can ask what, how, when, where, and he will come to the point, he will answer himself. The best answer can be provided by himself. We cannot advise. Let us bring the answer out of himself.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely, sir.
I think that,
Actually, great leaders ask number of questions to get more clarity, and we must always seek clarity. There are certain techniques, and we must develop an ability to form great questions. How we can have more clarity, even if this other person is not very clear. We always say that ask, not assume. We must
Ask,
never
not
right.
assume.
that's something. So whatever he is saying, particular sentence, we can take up some exercises also in our next Saturday. So how we can ask certain questions based on what the other person is saying. So like
Yes, that would be
somebody
better
said
in
that
this
I'm
situation.
not feeling well. So feeling well can be in different contexts. It can be a physical health, it can be emotional health, or anything. So always ask, what do you mean by not feeling well? Never assume that he's sick or something or anything like that.
शिवानी, मैं एक मत बोलता हूँ, एक थोड़ा मजाक भी है इसमें.
Yes, sir.
मामा अजमेर गए, मामा अजमेर गए, एक ने सुना मामा आज मर गए, और एक ने सुना मामा आज अजमेर को गए. So always ask, don't assume.
Sir, वैसे मैं अजमेर से ही
Good humor.
So it's the practical implication of what ma'am has taught. तो humor बताया था तो sir ने बना भी दिया. Nice, sir.
So there is a question, how to manage when you get tongue-tied and not able to get a reply immediately. In that case, take a pause of few seconds, think what you want to convey, and then answer it the right way.
I mean, in that case, I would like to add, you can ask the other person to give you some time if you are not getting the answer right now, maybe. So
Yeah.
you can always get back to that person.
मगर आलोक जी, बी ट्रूथफुल कि मैं अभी नहीं, मेरे दिमाग है, मैं आपको, मैं तो ऐसे बोलता हूँ कई बार, आई विल आस्क माय मेंटर, इट गिव अ गुड, मतलब अच्छा फील था कि इसके भी मेंटर है. पीपल ऑलवेज फॉलो पीपल हु हैज मेंटर. अब मां करना, मैं बोलूं मेरे भी गुरु जी है तो मेरा रिस्पेक्ट बढ़ता है, कम नहीं होता है.
Right.
And when you ask the other person, actually that person is also willing to explain you further.
आपको क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, बाद में भी सवाल का जवाब नहीं आए तो वी कैन टेल, गिव मी सम टाइम, और आई विल आस्क माय गुरुजी, और व्हाटएवर.
Any other
सबसे
question?
बढ़िया क्या नाम है आलोक जी, सबसे बढ़िया क्या है, जब आपको कुछ सवाल कोई पूछा और आपका जवाब नहीं आ रहा है तो उनको बोलो, मतलब यू टेल गेट गिव मी सम टाइम एंड देन गो टू सम अदर क्वेश्चन. तो क्या एकदम वो उसमें वो नहीं आएगा, रुकावट नहीं आएगी, आपका फ्लो चलता रहेगा, एंड देन यू कैन नोट डाउन एंड गिव द आंसर आफ्टरवर्ड. तो क्या कई बार आदमी हड़बड़ा जाता है ना तो फ्लो टूट जाता है मीटिंग का. सो शुड लेट यू कंटिन्यू.
So shall we continue next Saturday?
यस, सो ओवर,
I need
स्टार्ट हो
to
गया है.
go somewhere.
Yes, yes, sure, sure, sure. Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank you
thank you,
everyone
thank you.
for attending to this session.
अरे मैंने आपके बारे में बहुत कुछ बोला, वो मैं रिकॉर्ड नहीं कर रहा. आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट. नेक्स्ट टाइम बोलूंगा.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
ओके मैम.